Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy from Yonkers, New York. Did I say that right?
Yes,
Yonkers?
absolutely.
I think I had the New York accent though, right?
Hey, you got the close Jersey accent. You're good.
I don't even have that. I'm like 8 hours from Jersey. Anyway, I have my buddy Steve. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Jerry. So glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk, and I'm
That's
really excited.
good. So we'll start off with how you became a fan. Give a little background on that.
Wow. All right. So where should it begin? All right. So I guess it segued when I was a kid, and my older brother, it's about 10 years older than me. He was a huge Elvis fan, and mega. And I started liking Elvis a lot. His music is just really resonated with me. And I said to myself, it's something that Elvis has. He's passionate about his music. And I need to, I want to follow somebody that's passionate about the music too. I want to be inspired, like my brother was inspired by Elvis. So, you know what? Here comes, the Jovi team, and something about them just, I made it resonated to me to the point that I said to myself, why these guys that only sound great, not only have amazing songwriting capability, but they really are passionate about the music. They really are super passionate. They love what they do, and you can tell they're having fun, and it's from the heart. And whatever John got up there and sang, he was just giving it his all. I don't know. There was something different about them. There was something special about them.
Yeah. So what was the first song that you heard that you really, because there's a lot of bands out there that really are passionate about what they do and love what they do, but what was it music wise that really pulled you into them saying, this is my band, this is what I love the most?
I'd say the first thing that kind of hit me was Tico's role in Bad Name. It was just like da 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 da, and I was just like, wow, this just sounds so powerful. It sounds so true to that song, and that's kind of what struck me as, wow, I really have to start listening to this band more. Tico's drum roll in Bad Name, without a doubt.
Yeah, he's a badass drummer. I'll tell you, as you already know, he is
Yeah, the,
incredible.
the Hitman.
The Hitman, absolutely. So, okay, so before we continue, what's your favorite Bon Jovi song and what's your favorite album?
Oh wow, this is difficult.
Putting you, putting you on the spot, buddy. Putting you on the spot.
All right. So my favorite Bon Jovi song, hands down, "Take It to the Grave," "Born," without a doubt. "Born to Be
Born
My
to
Baby."
Fly, Born to Be My Baby. Okay,
"Born to Be My Baby," without a doubt.
nice.
I mean, when I heard that song, I was like, wow. It doesn't get when I saw that video. I mean, before internet, before any of that, it's just you just saw you waited for that video every month and a half, 2 months. It was like a treat for fans.
Yeah,
Dial MTV, I got to dial MTV, got to get number one. And when that video came on, just, wow, it was powerful. What a powerful song. And it stuck with me for what, 33 years now. And
yeah.
best song I've ever heard in my life.
What I really like about that song, this was kind of unique, if you look back at the 80s. So, Born to Be My Baby, was on the New Jersey 1988 album. And I think it was, I forget which, anyway, um, the music video wasn't something that other bands were doing. All these 80s bands were doing live video music videos.
Sure.
And because they're just constantly touring. And Bon Jovi had like the unique idea back then, think, hey, let's do something a little different here. And of course,
Sure.
Bon Jovi did the live concert footage and stuff like that. But for Born to Be My Baby, they did things entirely different. A, they recorded themselves in the studio. And secondly, they kind of had like a different intro musically, which
How
was kind
awesome was that? How
yeah, it was
awesome was
awesome.
that?
1 second you just hear John singing a cappella. Then secondly, you hear just like the guitar and then the whole band in a circle going na 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 na. It's just like that was so cool.
That was, and it was surprising to see that, for the first time. And I'm just like a kid. I'm just like watching and like, and they hit stop and the camera focuses on the stop button. And then I hear him say, all right, let's take it to the top. Let's take it to the top, go back. And then bam, 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 and right that powerful chorus. I was just like, wow,
Yeah,
wow. I was just, it's never happened before. And it was just such a unique video. That was
yeah.
so awesome.
Because I think that's like I could be wrong here, but I think that's kind of like one of the very first videos where you kind of showed them a little more mature, a little more serious. Because if you look, obviously from the first two albums, their music videos are so cheesy. She Don't Know Me, example,
Yeah.
Only Lonely. That music
Only
video
lonely.
makes sense. But so the first two albums are very cheesy music videos. Then the third album was more life on the road and live video concert footage. And then the New Jersey album, you started to get like Born to Be My Baby, where they're kind of showing their maturity about being in the studio, being a band, and stuff like that. So
Absolutely, without a doubt. And I mean, my favorite album has to be New Jersey. It's the album that,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, Slippery catapulted them into superstardom and something they never expected. And it was like a lightning crashes and you have to grab that bolt. But New Jersey just cemented them into a legacy.
yeah, proving that they weren't just a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
and I think New Jersey's really had to prove themselves and like I said, show the world they weren't just a one-hit wonder, and they could keep continuing to be a success. And they were the biggest, hands down, the biggest band in the '80s, hands down.
Without a doubt. I mean, between the success of Slippery and I mean the millions and millions of albums sold, and
Yeah,
just to actually continue it with New Jersey
yeah,
as big, because for another album to do that after the success of Slippery, for it to be that big was, I mean, it resonated to the point that, look, wow, this band is just here to stay.
yeah.
And the production, the sound was even better. Bob Rock did an amazing sound with New Jersey. I mean, you still hear it now, 33 years later, and it still sounds like better than half the albums you hear on the radio right now.
Oh, don't even get me started on today's music. Oh gosh, over.
But
I won't even get into it.
the production value was just production value.
There,
And
there was heart and soul in music back in the day. You know,
without a doubt.
nowadays it's overproduced. It has no substance, has no meaning. Even the artists don't even write their own music. Like I think I really appreciate the old time rock and roll bands, the '80s bands, because they wrote their own songs. They were hungry for success. They wrote their own songs. It's different to hear a singer sing a song that didn't write that song. Yeah, of course they could put some emotion into it, but they didn't write that song. They didn't write that song from their heart. Now, when you watch someone like Jon Bon Jovi sing a song that he's written and poured his heart into, that song has substance. That song has value and heart and soul. You know what I'm saying? It's better to watch someone sing their own songs versus singing a song that someone else wrote. Yeah, you can relate, but you didn't write. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
So,
completely makes sense. Absolutely. I mean, to write it, to put it out there, and just one of the last few great rock bands, in my opinion.
yep, exactly. So let's get into our first topic. We want to talk about what it's like to meet Jon Bon Jovi. And you didn't tell me this story yet, so I'm going to get to hear it for the first time here as well.
Yeah, pretty
You're a
cool.
cool story. So I'll shut up, let you talk.
So it was December of '96, and the boys were playing at the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank.
Oh man,
And I
Christmas show.
remember it was a Christmas show, and I remember it was freezing that night. It was a winter storm that night, and I remember just thinking, I'm in Westchester County, so going to Red Bank was about a good hour and a half away, and snow it's going to be like about maybe 2.5 hours. So it just kept going on forever. We finally get there, and they sounded so good. And I forgot what they opened with, but it was a really good, you know, different opener. Um, and what an amazing show! I mean, they were so tight. And the Count Basie Theater it's not huge. It's a theater,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
So, and they were doing that in succession for maybe like 3-4 years at a time. And I think the one I was at was one of the last Christmas, shows that they've done, because I think they stopped it for some reason, because maybe it got too big, or it was just too over the top. So, make a long story short, after the show, I had a friend of mine who's my sister's best friend, and she used to work for Polygram back in the day. And
Okay.
Polygram was obviously, the band's label, and she got me in, and she was basically saying, "Hey, you know what? We have a chance to meet, Bon Jovi. We can go to, there was like an after party at a nearby
Nice.
at a nearby restaurant or something like that. And I'm sure it was really cool. It was by the water, but it was freezing. It was winter out, so you really can see, the nice, surroundings. And Jerry, I remember it was so packed. It was so unbelievably just mobbed and swarmed. And there's John. And I'm like, just like, wow, I got to meet this guy. This is here. I'm
Yeah.
here. And I remember the security. He was like, he had a security guard with him, and it was a lot of people around him, and you could tell he was. I'm not going to say annoyed, but you could tell there was a lot. There was a lot of people, more than they, I guess, wanted to have at the party, and he was just going back and forth, and very busy. And I'll tell you, there was about a good few feet. I was right there, and I was like, what do I do? Do I back off? I know he's maybe just a little busy. I don't want to bother the guy, but this is my chance.
Yeah.
So basically, I was like, I went up to went up to him, and I was just like, got my second there, and I was like, hey John, I was like, you want to take a picture? And he goes, yeah, sure. And I'm telling you, man, the guy he could have said no. He could have said, no, I'm busy. He could have just not even acknowledged me.
Yeah.
But that was my moment to take a picture with him. And awesome human side. And it would have been definitely upsetting if he would have said no, but he said yes. And it was an awesome picture, I'll send it to you when I get a chance.
Yeah, that's how you got. Now you got to show it to me. It's so cool to hear other people's stories, especially when it's not like a runaway trip, which those are cool. I've obviously done a few of those,
Sure.
but it's awesome to kind of hear more of a low key meet and greet where you A, just run into them, or B, see them at an after party, and just kind of hear those stories, because that shows you how genuine and the admiration he has for fans, that he'll take the time for a photo and to say hi. And, obviously that's not always the case because he's busy, and there's, especially when on tour, there's many things. But in your situation, I think you had the great opportunity.
Yeah, and I actually took the picture, my friend with him. So I snapped the picture of my friend with him as well. And I think a few minutes later, it was before or after, I remember Tico was playing pool. David was playing. They were just playing pool, man, just hanging out, and I was just right there. I think I kind of bumped into David a little bit and said, "Excuse me." It was so funny. I saw his dad. I saw John's dad, and I remember telling him, "Hey, your son's really motivated me, inspired me so much, and I appreciate everything he's done." And his dad was cool with me as well. So I met his dad as well that night. It was awesome.
Yeah. So
cool.
So John was there. David, Tico. How was David and Tico?
Very nice. I mean, I didn't get a chance to say anything to them. I bumped into Dave real quick, and I even said, "Hey, I'm sorry," because they were shooting pool. I don't want to bother them really.
Yeah.
But I had the communication with John. I had communication with his dad, and I was kind of just hanging out and seeing, Tico playing pool and hanging out.
Yeah. Well, was Richie or Hugh there?
Hugh, no, I didn't remember seeing Hugh. I didn't remember seeing Richie. I remember vividly not being disappointed not seeing Richie. Maybe he didn't make it, maybe he didn't go, maybe he was just busy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, with that storm too that you had, maybe I could.
Yeah, the ride home wasn't great.
No,
but I was happy.
I think he was out in LA at that time too, if I remember, out with Heather. That neither there there. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
a cool. Now, have you ever met them since?
No, it's been a long time.
Hey,
it's been a long time.
But you still can say,
yes,
at Jon Bon Jovi. And how many fans can say they've had that kind of story?
Exactly, like that personal story. Instead of like meet and greet and take the pictures, it was just genuine. It was more like, hey, is he going to be cool with me? That kind of like approach. And he was very cool with me. He's very cool.
Yeah.
And to hear him say, sure, absolutely. And I could tell he was, he had a lot in his mind. He was very busy, and he could have said no, but he was very cool with me.
And the thing is, too, is, especially when someone at his stature, admires his fans and respects them, and, I know he will do whatever he can to make people happy. And like you said, in that kind of situation, he's pretty much the center of the party. He is the party. So everyone wants to talk to him and stuff. And so just kind of put yourself in his shoes for a second and think, you have all these people to please constantly, every day.
Can you
So
imagine that? It's just a different life.
yeah, exactly. So and I had to, I've met John in the band multiple times, whether it was a runaway trip or
Yeah.
just happenstance, luck on the street, or just some other special events. And I'll tell you, every single time I've met any of them, they've always been kind, nice, and like John especially. Like it's so great just to stand there and you talk to John and you kind of forget, oh my God, this is Jon Bon Jovi. Like he's really just a normal, like you and I just talking into the conversation and not, just, and then you kind of remember, oh my God, I'm talking to Jon Bon Jovi.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
He's,
great how you have all those moments with him, and you have all those interviews you've done with him, and he acknowledges you, and
yeah,
definitely knows that you're there. That's really
yeah.
cool.
And that's something I'm always going to be thankful for, because in a million years, I never thought I'd even meet the guy, and then it just all kind of happened within the last 10, 12 years, meeting all the different band members and because the scariest thing is thinking, okay, I've never met the band.
Yeah.
How are they to actually meet? Because I've heard horror stories with like other bands where like my one buddy, I won't name the band, but my buddy is a big fan of this one band, and he's kind of like me with Bon Jovi, absolutely adores them, loves them.
Sure.
And music is his life.
Yeah.
And he bumped into the guitar player, and he was an absolute jerk to him. All he did was he went up to him, and mind you, this was at the time he was only a 22-year-old kid.
Sure.
He went up to him and said, "Hey, I'm a huge fan of you. It'd mean the world if I could get a picture with you." And the guy and the guitar player told him, "No, get out of here."
That's horrible.
It crushed him.
Absolutely.
So my point is like, I'm so thankful that every member in Bon Jovi is kind and good to their fans. Now, of course, you hear horror stories, but those horror stories usually come from fans who are interrupting their dinners or chasing after them at an airport. And there's a right and wrong time.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I've seen band members at restaurants with their families. Do I go in? No. I just that's not the right time or place.
Not at all. No. You have to respect their privacy. You got to respect that they are just like you and I, and you can't you can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a time and place, and
Yep.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'm an older guy than you. Like, I wouldn't want to bother somebody, especially like a younger generation fan, like a guy in a band. Like, what am I going to do? I'm like an older guy than him. I'm not going to bother him. Like, you got to know your boundaries and know your respect.
Yep. Exactly. So there's a right and wrong time to go up to them and stuff. And there's also times too where fans just act crazy. And I'll give you my classic Pittsburgh story.
All right, cool.
So I saw John in what year was it? When Trump and Clinton were running? 2016.
Okay.
And they were doing fundraiser concerts. And so John was with Lorenza and Everett, and they did a Pittsburgh show, like Who Says You Can't Go Home, Lost Highway, and Prayer, acoustic.
Sure.
And after the show, we weren't even planning on it, but we were going to our car. All of a sudden, we saw Bill Clinton walk out.
Way.
And we're like, if Bill Clinton walked out, John's going to walk out of here.
Sure.
If he didn't already. So there was a few other Bon Jovi fans, maybe 4. And I knew some people there. And they're like, did John come out? I go, no, he's going to be coming out soon, though. So I said, you know what? Why not? So we waited for a little bit. And John's security, and Matt wasn't there. It was some other security. Security came out and said, hey, John said he's willing to take some photos with everybody as long as you form a line, be respectful. And I was like, cool. And I was probably the third in line. And we waited for maybe another 15 minutes, 20 minutes. John came out. And by this time, word kind of got out that John was, and I think it was like 10 people, which isn't too much, I guess. I was the third, fourth in line. John was like in a really good mood. He's like, hey, what'd you guys think of the show? Saying hi. And so he went to the first person in line, took a selfie, signed their ticket. Got to the second person, as he was approaching the second person, the woman in the back just flipped, screaming, "Jon, I love you," ran towards Jon. Security grabbed her before she could get to Jon. And Jon looked at her and said, "Sorry, guys," and turned around all pissed off. Oh, respectfully so. I don't blame him.
Sure.
And I was like, I was thinking to this lady, you just ruined an opportunity for not only yourself, but 8 other fans who waited in line. And mind you, when this was agreed upon with security, there was only 4 or 5 of us, and she ruined that experience for others who have never even gotten to meet Jon. And like I said, he was in a great mood. He was signing stuff, taking selfies, and joking around.
Sure.
This one fan ruined it, So
there's always got to be a bad one in the batch, right?
Yeah. So my point is, don't act crazy when people go to meet him. Like he's honestly, he really is just, and this as you met him, he's really just a down to earth, easygoing guy. The few times that I met him, yeah, he's just easygoing and he's great with the conversation too. He'll if he is really engaged with talking with you, he's to have a conversation with. So
yeah,
other
cool,
guys
man.
are too. David's really cool. So yeah.
Did you see the picture today with him and David since '78? I think he posted. That's really cool. I love that one.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool too, is knowing that David's been with Jon since 6 years prior to what Bon Jovi started as.
Wow, that's a lifetime.
Absolutely. So okay, so next topic we want to talk about was some of our favorite concert moments, right?
Sure, absolutely. Wow. So
name so how many times have you seen them?
I'd say about 25.
25. Okay. Not that it's a competition, but just for this conversation bit, my number's at 59. It's not a competition.
That's awesome.
It doesn't matter if someone has only been to one show.
Yeah, sure.
100. We're all equal. No fan is better than the other. I always say that. But what's your favorite show that you've been to?
Oh, that's a good one. My favorite show to have been to. I really enjoyed the Keep the Faith tour in '93. They played the Brandenburg Arena. I remember that's the New Jersey Devils used to play back in the day in New Jersey.
And just a quick pause there, and that brings me to another point too. And there's people out there go, well, "I've been to more shows than you." That doesn't matter.
No,
I've been to 59 shows since 2000. Now, I didn't get to see the band prior to that, so I am insanely jealous that you got to see them on Keep the Faith. And these, I was just tweeting to somebody earlier saying that I wish if I could have picked any tour to see before the Crush tour, I would have loved to have seen Keep the Faith tour.
Wow. So Keep the Faith tour was just, we all see the videos on YouTube now, but there was something about how good they sounded. They sounded so tight and they sounded so just sonically perfect. His voice was just, I don't know, I think his voice was the best. Yeah. His voice was so incredible on that tour, on Keep the Faith.
Both Keep the Faith and I think that was Jon's best vocals of the entire career of Bon Jovi.
You think so? Yeah. You know what? I agree. I think that tour, he had a lot to prove between the whole, after we all know Jersey and Young Guns and all that, and the band back together. So the Keep the Faith tour was just something that was special, and it was a Jersey show. It was February of '93, another cold winter day. And I remember my parents dropped me off at the Brandenburg Arena, and I went there by myself. I went to the show by myself, and I was just, man, that they opened up with "I Believe." What an amazing song to open up. And
I missed that. I miss seeing it, period. But as an opener, man, just that, that bass and the guitar riff.
Yeah.
and then T goes,
yeah.
and then John coming out with like with his fist up in the air. You know,
it just
I love
resonates hope and peace and love and unity, you know, and just inspiration.
Yep, exactly. So, what's your absolute favorite concert memory, though?
My favorite concert memory.
I know it's hard.
It's got to be. I have to say, it's got to be 1989 with Skid Row opening up for the Boys in Giant Stadium, the biggest homecoming at that moment.
Look at you showing off.
That was an amazing show. I mean, I remember being so into Skid Row. I'm like, wow, these guys are cool, and they're going to open up. They're from Jersey, and they're playing, and this is the biggest Jersey show that we could have. And they were so proud. They were so proud to be at Giant Stadium because it wasn't the arena. It was the homecoming, like we all see in the Access All Areas video. It was the homecoming. It was the one they wanted. And like I said, I cried like 5 times, I think he said in the video. And it was, you know, of course, it was 89. It was before girls had hair up to here, and you know, and you won your tickets on the radio, and things were so exciting, and you waited on long lines to get your tickets. Everything, you earned everything back in the day. You know, you just didn't hit a download button.
Yeah, they're you know, but I will tell you, buying tickets these days is stressful because you don't know what the cost of those tickets are going to be until pre-sale starts. And secondly, it's a huge competition to get those tickets.
It's insane. I got a buddy of mine who's going to, you know, the Chili Pepper show. Like, yeah, I'm trying to flip it for $1,000. I'm like, it's just, bring me back to the day, you know?
You know, and it's funny, too, because I had a buddy send me a photo of his concert ticket. And I get a lot of people that do that, too, you know. And you look at the prices on these tickets, and it's like $30. I was looking at my very first ticket. $40 on the floor, 11th row, center. $40 for that in a stadium, my friend. In a stadium.
That's absurd, right?
You know, and now just like ticket, you know, I won't even say the name, but we both know the clowns that are running these ticket operations now, and the, you know, like you look at you'll find a ticket, you know, you bite your tongue. Okay, the ticket that you want is $900. Okay, you bite your tongue. But then you go to check out, and the fees turn it into $1,200-$1,300.
Yeah, there's that meme that says, and final price, you know, and like $5,000 more.
Yeah, like there's like one that's like on your computer fee, or the click of a button fee, or you know, like all these like those stupid fees. But like, how do you justify charging someone $400 in like fees? And it's like, I know.
I think I'm determined. Everybody just wants to set their own price. You know, there's supply and demand, but everything is just ridiculously overpriced. I mean, the other day at the Boston finals, I think floor seats were $24,000 for one basketball game. $24,000 to sit on the floor. Like, now I'll pass.
Yeah, exactly. And what makes me mad too is that there's resale seats. Not even when it goes on sale, there's our resale seats. And it makes me mad because, like, my wife and I, we got tickets to somebody a couple years ago, and something came up. We weren't able to make the show, and we got the ticket for like maybe $250. I was like, you know what? Let's just sell it for $250. Get back what we made. I'm not going to be in it to make a profit. They wouldn't even let me resell it for that, but I had to resell it for much higher than that.
Wow. And they want to cut.
Yeah, and they collect on fees on that ticket too, the same ticket that they already made fees on. You know, it's crazy.
Everybody's so greedy these days.
Yeah, but you get these ticket scalpers that will buy the tickets that they know all the other fans want and triple the price. You know, like I remember on the Bon Jovi tour in April, you know, Bon Jovi was selling front row seats for like $2,000. Okay, some fans would buy those tickets and charge $4,000 for that seat. You know, it's like, it's crazy. But
I'm not about to make a buck, especially with the band I love. I'm not about that.
Yeah, but I mean, going to concerts, you know, like I talk about how many shows I've been to. Well, that was when tickets were affordable. Now I only do a few per Bon Jovi tour, but you know, like it just used to be so much fun to go to all these shows because tickets were at a fair price. You had fun, but now I mean, you've got to really decide which concert you want to go to and how much you're willing to spend because it's crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and now all the bands are playing now because of COVID, and everybody's back on the road. So there's just bands everywhere, just just touring. So you have to pick and choose.
Yeah, and that's what my wife and obviously Bon Jovi was a priority because they went on tour in April. Which did you go to any shows on that tour?
No, I'm waiting for them to come over here. So they haven't been to Jersey or New York. I'm waiting for MSG. I'm waiting for
Yeah,
one of the Jersey shows. I'm waiting for anywhere close to me. I
yeah.
haven't gone. I thought about maybe going to. I think he did one in San Jose, California. I thought about going to that one, but I haven't gone yet. But I can't wait. I want to go definitely when I think there's going to be a new leg coming, right? Hopefully.
Next year.
Oh wow, it's next year now.
Yeah.
I was hoping they would do something in the fall. Okay.
Yeah, sadly no. But what else was I gonna say to you? But yeah, speaking of I always say New Jersey and New York City shows are the best. I absolutely love seeing the band there because they always like to show off for their friends and family. I just think that John's energy is just out of this world, amazing.
Sure.
And, did you go to the MetLife shows in 13?
Yes, I went to because you can tour with the huge with the Cadillac on the
Yeah,
stage.
the car,
Yes.
Sophia. Yeah.
Yes. I brought my son, who's 15 now. I brought him to his first Bon Jovi show at that show. So it was me and him there.
Let me ask you, how does that feel to take your son to see your favorite band?
It felt great. It was almost like coming full circle,
Yeah.
and I was so proud to have him, feel my inspiration and what I believe in the music that inspired me for so many years to have my son feel it, and it was a special moment. I think I cried like 3 times that night.
Yeah. I love my son, and so I don't push him to like something he doesn't want to like. He doesn't like
Yeah,
rock. He doesn't like music at all, which is surprising because his mom loves music. I obviously am a huge lover of music, and I've invited him so many times in the last few tours to go see Bon Jovi. Not interested. I did take him to see. He didn't have a choice here because he was too young. I think he
yeah.
was like 8 or 9, and so I was like, "You have to come with me because I'm going to the show." But we went to go see Stephen Piercy,
Okay,
and he didn't have a care in the world.
sure.
So yeah, so I was one. So hopefully my next child will. But by that time, Bon Jovi's gonna be retired. So, but
Well,
it is what it
hopefully,
is.
hopefully we have another. You know, hopefully we have another 20 years left.
Ah, I wish.
I
But
wish. I wish.
I was going to say something to that. But the one thing that's so interesting, and I've realized it on this last tour. I've grown up thinking I'm the younger generation of Bon Jovi fans, but this last tour I realized I'm not anymore. I'm like the middle generation now. I'd probably say I'm the third generation of fans. Now there's a fourth generation of fans, much younger, and it's so cool to see younger fans love the band almost as or even as much as you know you know
Sure.
because we live in an era now, like I'll use the stadium tour as a perfect example. Poison, Joan Jett, Motley Crue, Def Leppard. I've talked to so many other people who said I'm so excited to see, and Bon Jovi's included in this. I'm so excited to see this band because I never thought I'd have the opportunity to see them. We're talking
Sure.
16-year-old kids, who love that band just as much,
And
who
that's cool to think about because now these bands have just new generations of fans, and wow, 16. I mean, these kids are just being introduced and falling in love like we did when we were kids.
yeah. And so
Generations later.
yeah, so to conclude, what I'm trying to say here is, on this last tour in April, I've met so many younger fans who um, love the band just as much as me. And it was kind of really cool to see their optimism because it's no, a lot of people were complaining about the tour, and I was like, come on, people. But a lot of people were complaining about the tour, and so it was so refreshing to see someone who was just happy to be there. to be able to witness them on stage as a band together. You know,
Absolutely. I mean,
appreciative.
without a doubt, I don't want to harp on that issue. One thing I will say is I defended Jon a couple times online, and I just stopped doing it because it just got redundant, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
People are just so ridiculous, and they think that you have to sound the same as you did, 35 years ago. But you have to understand it's been 35 years of singing, 40 years of singing, and thousands of shows later, and you know, hey, your voice goes through a lot, and you have to understand that you're not going to sound the same. That's all.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's out there giving all he's got to fans and people that he believes got him there, and it's a give and take. And as long as we want to see him, and as long as we want to see the band, he's going to keep doing it. And that's all.
Exactly. And my thing is, when you go to a concert after the show, how tired is your voice?
Wow, of course. You're shot. You're just scratching, you're clawing.
Yeah. So you got to think the very next night when Jon is performing, the night before his voice was sort of just like you and me, but he's got to go in the next day and sing,
No,
like
doubt. Listen, you be 60 years old and you have that much of a history behind you, and not just the average history of like, hey, I've been playing music for the average history, the mega history that he has.
Yep.
The guy is one of the greatest frontmen ever, and to have that history on your back and to be 60, listen, you have to expect your voice not to be the same.
Exactly. And you know what? I still think he's a great frontman. He's still a great singer, and all I care about is that I'm still able to see my favorite band still.
Absolutely.
Because
100%.
one day, and it's sad because we just lost Alec,
Yeah.
So
that was really upsetting to me.
It really opens your eyes and thinking, appreciate what you have right now, because one day you're never going to be able to see this band live again. They're not going to live forever. So just appreciate the moment you're in. Stop complaining and complaining. We all have our complaints. I have complaints on things, but I focus on the good. Just enjoy it while you have it.
Absolutely. And for all those years of seeing that, all those picks, the Brotherhood picks, and the big slippery picks in New Jersey, and now that Alec's not there anymore, it almost feels like that, like in Back to the Future when you would vanish in that picture.
Yeah.
It almost feels like, you just see it vanishing from the picture in front of my eyes, like, kind of like a feeling. It's very sad. It's very sad, but
it is. Just like looking around my office, I have several photos of Alec and the band. And I remember, especially when Alec first died, I would look at these pictures, and I've grown up with these pictures since I was 8 years old, 22 years ago. And looking at some of these posts, I'm doing it now and just looking and thinking, oh my God, like he's gone, so I really hope his death really kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes and just enjoy what you have, enjoy the moment,
Absolutely. I was at that show, by the way, in Giant Stadium. Alec came out and did the cameo.
How was that? So did you know it was going to happen beforehand?
There was talk about it. I was hoping it was going to happen, and it happened. So it was so cool, and it was such a nice memory to see that and to be a part of that when it happened.
Yeah, because that was 6-7 years after his departure. So that would have been kind of cool to see that, because I was in hopes that, obviously we knew his health wasn't the greatest, so I knew he wasn't going to be able to do like a full-on tour, full-on show. But I was hoping, like, when the band does their final tour, he would have showed up at some point and done a few songs, or at least do prayer. But we're not going to get that opportunity now. So
yeah. I was just to keep on with the shows. I was at the These Days tour. I saw 2 nights back to back at Jones Beach in Long Island, New York.
Oh man,
that was July of '95. It was like July 25th and July 26th of '95. I remember the dates, I think. And I saw back-to-back nights on These Days, and that was a special experience because Jones Beach, for everybody who knows, like Westchester and Long Island, it's just an amphitheater. Right behind it is just the water. It's very cool, and it was it was open. It was just the night sky and just hearing the band rock. And that was another great tour. Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So what do you think was their best tour though?
Best tour. I want to say the Jersey tour, the Jersey Syndicate tour in '89 was the best tour.
The one tour that I wish I would have appreciated, and of course you didn't realize it at the time, but
Yeah.
one tour I wish I would have appreciated more and really took in was the Bounce tour, because we don't get to see any of those songs. You know, maybe once in a while on a Runaway trip or something, but with the band, nothing.
Yeah. I went to the Bounce tour. I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it in Pittsburgh.
It was another great sounding tour. Sonically, they sounded so good. Richie was spot on, and I remember this. That's a great album. Bottom line,
Yeah.
it's the Bounce is a great album.
And it's so underrated.
It
You know,
really
because
is.
it's like one of those forgotten albums
Sure.
that it seemed like, I guess that's right. It was just a forgotten album, and I remember someone had asked John about that on the Runaway trip, and if I remember correctly, I have the video of it, and he just said that it's kind of an overlooked album. You know, it's just kind of,
Yeah.
but there's so many gems on it. You know, Undivided, Every Day. You know, I'm just gonna tell you all 12 tracks, even the demos. I'll even say the demos were the best demos of any album. The outtakes, the demos.
I love. Have you heard of the Undivided demo? Divided demo was really really cool, and
Oh yeah,
I remember listening to that back in the day, and I remember playing it so many times. And I remember Target had like this, this special,
the red
three,
cover.
four signed, 3, 4 songs, on just released Target. That was very cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it had what Lucky, No Regrets, Breathe, Standing,
yes. Oh
and
my
then
gosh, Breathe was such a great song. Such a great
Breathe,
song.
Breathe is, I think, that one. Another Reason to Believe and Standing were the best 3 outtakes from Bounce.
Sure.
You know, but did you ever hear the Right Side of Wrong demo?
No, I don't think I've heard that one actually.
Oh man, it's on one of the singles from the Bounce era. I forget which one it's on, but there's a demo for Right Side of Wrong. I love it. The lyrics are a little different.
Okay.
I think the piano keys are a little slightly different as well.
Cool. I'll listen to that.
And,
And you got to remember too. I mean, Bounce was after, it was after the 9/11. It was a lot of things going on. The world changed, and between that happening and it was a different time. So it was underrated. It was still a great record, and I think it was definitely one of the records that were pushed under the rug that the fans just love.
yeah, exactly. You know, and it's a shame that none of those songs get played live. If you
I
could pick
know.
one song
Oh
from
my
that
gosh.
played live, one song? What would you pick?
I I kind of like Misunderstood. I think it's
Yeah,
such a gorgeous song. It's just
the-
cute. It's
I,
just a guy feeling bad for, pissing his wife off,
yeah,
pissing his girl off. It's
I call it the Doghouse song.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very, it's something we've all been through, and
Oh yeah.
a buddy of mine was in the doghouse a couple days ago, and I thought about that song. I was like, oh, Misunderstood. There you go.
Misunderstood. Even that demo is really good. I think the demo that I've heard it has an entirely different second verse to it. And it was kind of offbeat, though. You could see why it didn't make the actual song. But have you heard it?
Yeah, I remember listening to that one. That was definitely a little different. I liked it.
Yeah.
What do you think of Mad TV? That was such a out of nowhere song. That was a time that
The
it
what
was
song?
real life.
Oh man, that is probably in my top 3 favorite.
Gosh.
I don't want to call Real Life an outtake because it was never intended to be on Crush or anything. It was just recorded for Ed TV, and just to kind of show the world Bon Jovi's coming back with a new album soon. But
Sure. It was 99. It was
yeah,
and I was thirsting for new stuff, and I was like, real life came up. I was just blown away. And
yeah,
that bridge was just very cool. What a
yeah.
great song.
And what I really like about the music video, so you probably already know this, but Crush was going to be named One Wild Night, or it was going to be called Sex Sells
Sex
first,
sells. Yeah.
then One Wild Night, and I think it had another title, and it was going to be called Just Older, and then it finally got named Crush. But in the music video for Real Life in '98, in the video it shows new Bon Jovi out 19 coming in 1999, Sex Sells.
That's right.
And
That's right. They even they had some stuff in the city going and just advertising it, and
yeah,
it's in the video as well. Very
yeah.
cool.
And I think I actually have a promo poster somewhere in one of my totes, somewhere in my collection of that promo poster in the video, Sex Sells.
Yeah, it went around. It was actually bona fide certain title of what the album was going to be called, and for a good 6 to 8 months, I was like, yeah, Sex Cells is coming out, and just fooled everybody. I guess they thought it was too raunchy, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever the case was.
To be honest, I'm so glad they didn't call it Sex Sells. I just, especially because they weren't that
Yeah,
80s hair band anymore where you could get away with it.
totally.
Going
It sounds
into
like
it,
a Poison cover album.
yeah, exactly. So like One Wild Night would have been cool, just older. I would have personally called it Just Older. I think that would have been a great album title.
Yeah.
Because they were going into a new generation, a new era, and I think they were an established band at that point. And so I think Just Older would have been a cool title.
I agree. So let's talk about just to keep the conversation flowing. So basically, just some random thoughts. I remember going to the city. It was, I think it was on Channel 4. They had the live concerts on Channel 4. I think the summer stage, whatever it's called. And I remember it was the Crush right before the Crush tour, right when the album came out. It was in June, and I remember going down there, getting there at 5 in the morning with my camcorder and just videotaping. I was one of those dudes. If you go on YouTube, I was one of those dudes just camcordering. The just Matt Lauer and all those guys on Channel 4 up at the time, and seeing the guys on there waiting, getting ready to play. And it was such a big crowd. You have to keep rolling and keep walking. You're like, oh, you have to get out of here. So keep walking around.
Yeah.
We're going around like 5, 6, 7, 8 times. What a memory, Jerry. That was such a cool memory. And another impactful, beautiful day. I remember it was June. It was beautiful sun, and it was so cool. It was so cool to hear those songs. I think they played 4 or 5 songs, and I even went to another random thought. Oh my gosh! During the Bounce tour, it was another city thing, and that's where they were on stage at Times Square. You can see it on YouTube
Are
right
you
now.
talking about the Super Bowl? Well, they did the Super Bowl after that, but it was for like a 9/11
Yes,
tribute. Yeah.
exactly. So they were in the city. So I was talking about the Crush thing. That was different. And they went to the city and they played at Times Square. That was
He's wearing
awesome.
a blue tank top.
Yes, the blue
Yep.
tank top. So I was
Yep.
there for that. I was there for that. I was just
Oh,
trying to think of things.
I remember. So this is VH1. So this is before social media and internet and all that.
Yeah.
I remember because I was a fan for 2 years at this point, and I obviously wasn't as lucky as you to go to that. But I remember they were filming it live on VH1, and I remember that night because I was starting to do like a VHS recordings. Like so, I have like different VHSs filled with TV recordings from Crush,
Sure.
Bounce, Have a Nice Day, Highway, and so forth. And I remember being at the store and I told my dad, I said, Dad, we got to hurry home because Bon Jovi's going to be on VHS. They're doing a Times Square thing and then they're going over to do the Super Bowl. I got to record on my VHS because if I miss it, it's gone. And
Sure.
I'm not kidding you. I got in the door and I forget what the time. I think it was like, what was it, 7 o'clock, I think it started. I got in the door at 6:58, threw my shoes off, grabbed my Bounce VHS tape, put it in the VCR, push record, went to the channel, and
Sure.
and my dad was so mad at me that I didn't help carry in the groceries. But I was like, Bon Jovi's on. I've been waiting for this all day. I gotta watch it. But it was so cool because I remember seeing the helicopter flying in, and then all of a sudden you see John run into the stage. He's wearing a blue tank top. He's fist pumping people,
Sure.
and,
Sure.
and he was on fire. The whole band was.
Absolutely. I remember going to, I think there was like for the Have a Nice Day tour. right before the album released, they did a theater thing, a theater show. So I remember bought tickets to the theater show. That was really cool. That was just a live theater concert setting.
For which
And
tour?
have a nice day.
Oh, that was like one of the very first shows that they did. The Nokia.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
remember going to theater
I
and checking that out. That was good memory too.
I know my stuff, buddy. I know my
Yeah, I
stuff.
know, I know. I'm testing you. I'm testing you.
Yeah. But
What a great conversation. I'm having such a great time.
I think before that though, they did a veteran concert where they demoed a lot of the Have a Nice Day stuff. It was a private concert, but they did it for the vets. And I think they went
Mm,
at a camp, like a military camp. It was right before the Nokia Theater show,
sure.
and they
I
played.
saw the um I saw the Have a Nice Day tour at MSG. I think it was, I want to say November
Yep,
2005.
yep, November. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just trying to remember. And I remember you know, that intro with, I forgot the song title. Uh,
Last Man
Last
Standing.
Man Standing. Yeah, Last Man Standing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was just wow, I was just blown away. I was like, wow, I'm just intro song. They sounded so good on that tour as well. What a
Yeah.
show.
That was
And I remember I love the song. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no. Go ahead.
You love that song. What is it? Like, it's all right, it's okay. You don't have any other way. Mama, keep on
Complicated.
playing. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
They never played that. I love that song. They
Oh
never
man,
play it anymore.
I don't think I got to see Complicated. Because I saw on that tour. Don't hold me to it, but I saw it in Buffalo, both Pittsburgh shows, and Cleveland, I think, and never got Complicated. Honestly, the only songs I think that I had to look at the set list again. But the only songs I think I got from Have a Nice Day were obviously Have a Nice Day, Last Man Standing. I do think I got Welcome to Wherever You Are. And I got I Am, Story of My Life. And I think that's it. I think that's the only songs I got. But I was hoping for Complicated. Never got it. But I remember.
They did Complicated MSG.
Oh, of course they did. But I tell you, in February 2006, they released the Live from Have a Nice Day Walmart CD that had the 6 tracks. It had Bad Name on it, Last Man Standing, Complicated, Raise Your Hands. I forget the other 2, but that was cool. So I was glad we got like this was before internet days too. Somewhat with music, we got a live version of Complicated. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard it. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
So many songs from that album. I Am, like we just talked about. I Am. What an amazing song that one is. Talk about inspirational. I want to hear it after our conversation. I'm gonna play it tonight. Actually, I haven't heard it in months.
I'm gonna go jam to Complicated, but to conclude here with I Am. So my absolute favorite outtake is Nothing, which was an outtake.
Oh my
from
gosh,
Nice
so great.
Day. And so if you listen to I Am and Nothing back to back, it's almost the same instrumentally.
Okay.
Have you noticed that?
No, I'm gonna listen to it now just to hear it again.
Especially the intro. It's pretty much the same, and it has that same chord progression, and excuse me, it's very identical. And so John scrapped it, and he gave that song to Bo Bice. So you got to listen to the Bo Bice version. He actually does a pretty good job. He changes a little bit of the lyrics, but it's great.
Okay. Wow.
So,
Okay. I think I heard it before. I forgot about that. It's been a while.
yeah. So we'll conclude with this. What is your absolute favorite outtake?
Favorite outtake?
Period. Favorite Bon Jovi outtake of all time.
Take as far as what? Like as far as a song that didn't make an album, or just like a B-side?
A song that didn't make the album.
Maybe this might not be it, but I love the song a lot. Good Guys Always Wear Black. I love that song so much.
Oh, Good Guys Always Wear White. Yeah, I
white, yeah, white.
I love that they did that live too, and
The MTV Movie Awards.
it wasn't really promoting anything.
I know. When they came out
so,
blazing at the MTV movie, I was watching. They had the MTV Movie Awards every June, and that was back then. It was interested. Now it's just a mess. But
yeah,
when they played that song, like wow, they sounded, because it's such a heavy song,
yeah,
and they were the heaviest band there at that moment, and I was surprised they played a song. Very cool, very cool.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, but I know we can,
We
we'll
could
chat.
talk for hours.
I know we'll chat a little bit after this recording here, but I'll have to have you on again. We'll just talk about something else. It was great chatting with you.
Oh my gosh, likewise. I had such a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, let me end the recording here. Stay on for a second, and thanks again for coming on, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I had a great time.